What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds, talking authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. This is your afternoon news show with a very raspy voice and a very tickly cough. So if I do start breaking up in bits, I do apologise. But yeah, chest is absolutely knackered. So we've got a four-man manager. Four-man manager, does that work? Four-man manager? Yeah, four-man manager. It doesn't sound right saying that, does it? Four-man manager. Four-man. Four-manager. Full manager shortlist. Thomas Tuchel, Kieran McKenna, Thomas Frank, and Mauricio Pochettino. I'm very, very interested to hear all of your thoughts on these managers specifically because, of course, I have my own individual thoughts, but I want to know if they are reciprocated by you lot, if you have a certain manager in mind who you would love to go for, and let me know why you would want to go for him as well. Why would they be a perfect fit for United? Why would they be a perfect fit for Ineos, etc., etc.? And why are they the right man to take us into the next kind of 2 years under this new Ineos, 2-3 years under this new Ineos regime, I would imagine. And I'll get into all the details of it, of each individual one, how I feel about the actual decision being made before a certain FA Cup final. Bruno Fernandes has also written, I can't speak today, vocabulary's all over the gaff, written a letter to United fans. Why does that not sound right? I have no idea. He's wrote a letter to United fans. That sounds better, doesn't it? He's done a little bit of a thing with Players Tribunal. You saw Marcus Rashford did one as well. But yeah, Bruno was very heartfelt. You know, when I first saw the thing when it got posted on Twitter, like this interview, it was like a letter to United fans, and I was like, oh my God, he's not leaving, is there? Surely not. We can't have Ten Hag going and Bruno going, you know, within like a couple of weeks. That'd be absolutely horrendous. But it wasn't, thank God it wasn't, you know, him leaving United. It was a letter to United fans, which I want to get into some of the quotes from that as well. And then we have some transfer news, which I think there's some interesting players that are circling that their agents are pushing for. One you might see on TikTok if you're on there at the moment. But I'll get into that as well, so all the transfer talk. But let's start off with four-man shortlist. So according to James Duckworth, The Telegraph, Erik Ten Hag's position at Manchester United appears increasingly untenable. United have sounded out Kieran McKenna, Thomas Tuchel, Mauricio Pochettino, and Thomas Frank this week. So they're the four managers that they're looking at. And if we're to go through these together, again, get your thoughts in the comments and let me know how you feel about them. This is my personal take on each individual one. Kieran McKenna, we've spoken about a little bit last night, me, Sam, and Chivet. I think he's an impressive coach. I think back-to-back promotions, incredible, you know, unheard of in football in general. Like top 5% do that. Knows the fabric of the club, knows United, because obviously he was a coach under Jose Mourinho when he first came through, like a youth coach, I believe it was. And then he kind of promoted up to an assistant coach under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And at the time with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, received a lot of shit. A lot of the fans were calling him out, him and Carrick, which I never really understood at the time. But yeah, he's obviously showing that he's a top level coach with what he's done at Ipswich at the minute. Is he the right step for us? That's the question first and foremost. He certainly fits what I will believe what Ineos want now, and even what Chelsea want now, in this kind of young coach who doesn't necessarily, you know, do everything at the club. They just focus purely on football, and then the operation above him deal with the rest of things, basically. I think that's how Ineos want to go into it. And they want, excuse me, they want a coach who fits that ideology, their ideology, I should say. Like, they have a vision, they have a plan. Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, they are constructing something for a coach to align to. That's how I feel the way they're going at the minute. And that's where the second option comes in Thomas Tuchel, where I think it kind of goes against that. You know, Tuchel, strong character, has managed big clubs, knows what expectation means at big clubs. He's been in 2 Champions League finals. He's won one of them with a pretty average Chelsea team, I'd say, as Premier League experience. But I don't think he's the type of manager that I think he would clash with Ineos. And I think Ineos want a little bit of a yes man, I would say. I'm not calling him McKenna a yes man. I'm not saying he is, sorry, but fucking hell. Sorry. But he would certainly clash and have a lot more of a strong opinion than McKenna, who's, you know, with all due respect, back-to-back with Ipswich, but then he's he's not played a single Premier League game as a head coach, as a manager yet. So that's something you need to consider when you talk about the Premier League. Angry Little Red Cap says McKenna does manage the full club at Ipswich and style play is perfect for anyone in the Championship. At Ipswich he does, yeah. But I'm saying at United it'll be completely different. It'll be completely different under Ineos. And Tuchel, I think he would want certain signings. He's not afraid to bench, star players. We see everything that's going on at Bayern Munich at the moment with Joshua Kimmich and Goretzka and these guys, and there was certain comments from him saying, we can't play certain positions, and he's not afraid to speak his mind. He's a lot of people respect him in football, but like I said, he's a very strong character. You guys need someone to take full control, though. Maybe that is the case, but Ineos don't. Ineos are going to run an operation, basically, where you have everyone aligned throughout the full club, from CEO to sporting director to technical director to the manager to the players, throughout, with the same philosophy and the same vision. That is what they want. So, obviously, the manager will probably get a say and get a veto on certain transfers, but Ineos are looking at everything that's gone on upstairs over the past 10 years, and they're like, that whole thing needs shifting. That whole thing needs sorting out. And we're going to take responsibility for that. We want a coach who can come in, focus on the football, and get the results, and get the team playing nice football. And McKenna does that. Even Tuchel, like I mentioned this the other day when I did the manager's video, like when I was talking about individuals. With Tuchel, the guy's flexible. He's been in multiple clubs. Dortmund, you had a rotational 4-3-3 attacking system. PSG played multiple systems. Chelsea went in there, saw the problems, fixed it straight away, went to a back five, defensive, resolute, and started getting results again. And then Bayern Munich, it's been a bit half and half. I think there's a lot of stuff going on upstairs at Bayern Munich as well, which plays into it. But I still think Thomas Tuchel's a top coach, man. And I think he's got the balls to deal with certain things, and the authority as well. Need a manager who's here to stay, not chopping and changing. Get 5 years most out of Poch and Tuchel. I'm going to get onto Poch in a minute. I doubt McKenna Ball will work at United. It's like we're getting another Solskjaer, says Kingsman. That's very interesting. And I think the problem is funnels throughout. I was in the commentary and I couldn't believe the mentality at United. Oh, it's horrendous, isn't it? It's horrendous. You don't half ramble. Why are you watching then? Don't watch. Does Ten Hag not have the authority? He does have authority, but my point that I'm making is I'm talking about individuals, right? I'm talking about Thomas Tuchel as a person. That just because I'm saying Tuchel has authority, that doesn't mean Ten Hag doesn't. I'm talking about him, I'm isolating him as a manager individually because I'm going through a shortlist. If you listen, you probably would know that. Saints in the chat saying I'd keep Ten Hag. Grace Sheridan saying it's so disrespectful from Ineos to allow these stories to come out a couple of days before the final. Didn't he say he admired Arsenal for sticking with Arteta and giving him a structure which he never had? That's a very good point you make, Grace, because he did say that in an interview. And he also said something about, I don't think any of the top-class managers that have come to United have succeeded, and there's a problem with that. It's the environment. And then he got asked, like, well, who's to blame for that environment? And he said, well, I don't think it's very constructive to start criticising people, whatever. But he obviously meant the Glazers. So with that interview, I always thought, he's gonna stick with him. Then he's gonna give him a chance, 6 months under this new regime, and then see where he can go. But the rumours at the minute, you can't get away from it. Honestly, you cannot go online and get away from it. These managers being linked left, right, and centre. And the FA Cup final is a massive game. Rico Xavier with the most philosophical, important question you are going to get on a Friday afternoon. What's your favourite kind of potato? I mean, this is the business. Forget any manager talk. Forget Bruno's letter to United fans. Forget any transfer talk we had planned as well. Rico is saying, what is your favourite kind of potato? Make sure you get that in the chat. Very important. I mean, I don't know personally any different kind of potatoes. I'm not a potatoologist. But if you're speaking purely what I like taste-wise, I think the Five Guys chips is pretty good, the Cajun fries. Is that classed as a potato? If it is, yeah, there's my favourite kind of potato. Thank you for your comment, Rico. Really appreciate that. Right, on to Thomas Frank. I don't know how I'm going to segue from potatoes into that. Let me think. Thomas Frank, potato. Tommy sauce with potatoes. Tommy Frank. Does that work? Yeah, I'm going to have that. That's the only way. Boiled potatoes hit different with butter. Jacket potatoes on top. I really want Gyökeres and Pedro Gonçalves. At first, that Gyökeres, I thought he was going to say gyros then, because people have started talking about food in the chat and it's taken its own world now. at the minute. Gyökeres, top player. Top player. We actually had a Coventry fan on when we did the preview for the semi-final game, and obviously they had Gyökeres. He had Gyökeres at the club at the time, and I was speaking to him about like what type of player he is and blah blah blah. And I really like him. I've only seen bits with Sweden in the international duties, and I've seen little bits at Sporting. I do need to watch him a little bit more, but from what I've seen, I think he's a top player. But we're going to get into transfer news towards the end, so make sure you stick around for that. Make sure you smash a like on the video as well for us. We're currently on 5,102 subscribers. We're trying to hit 5,200, so we've got 98 away from that. If there's anyone in the TikTok, if they are feeling in a good mood, they've got that Friday feeling, and you want to hit that subscribe button, please click the link in the description. There's quite a few views on YouTube at the moment as well. If anyone hasn't subscribed yet, I'm sure a lot of you have already, because I recognise some of the names in the chat. But yeah, please do, or share to a friend, smash a like, all that good stuff. Tommy Frank, top coach. I believe he squeezed every drop out of that Brentford squad that he possibly could. He's good at developing players. I think the Brentford's best finish, correct me if I'm wrong, is top half of the table. It's 9th, right? That is very impressive with that Brentford squad. He's really good with the media. I think he handles that really well. All the stuff around Ivan Toney he dealt with, really good. But again, I don't think he's ready for United. It's not. I think out of the 4, that's the weakest option in my opinion. Probably the least favourite option as well. I don't know if I don't want to speak for everyone, but I would imagine it probably is. United is a completely different world to Brentford. And I'm sure he'll be aware of that, and I'm sure most managers are. But even for McKenna, who we mentioned at the start, to take a leap up from Ipswich to United, I mean, I think Chivy referenced Lampard at Derby. You know, going from Derby to Chelsea, it's just a different world, man. A completely different world. And Thomas Frank personally wouldn't be in my options who I'd go for. Now, the last one, this one is interesting because my opinion's changed of this man, Mauricio Pochettino. I think he's fantastic with young players, which bodes well for Rasmus Højlund, Kobbie Mainoo, Alejandro Garnacho, Ahmad, you know, all these kind of players that we've got in the team. You only need to look at the players at Chelsea, the younger ones as well, how they've reacted on social media to the manager going, to show kind of how much his man management skills are really, really good with young players. You've only just started seeing at Chelsea as well, his patterns, the style of play, the methods in the second half of the season, you know, like the 4th best team. And I know they spent a lot of money. I know, but we also know as United fans, and Everton fans also know as Everton fans as well, just because you spend a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You know, it could be spent in the wrong way by the people above you. And Todd Bowley's a bit trigger happy when it comes to transfers. So just because he spent a lot of money, it is definitely a little bit of a red flag when they spend quite a lot. You know, look at Casado, 115 million quid. I don't think Enzo was a Poch signing. Nkunku was a Poch signing. Jackson. You know, there's a couple in there that's relatively expensive. I believe he spent similar amounts to Erik Ten Hag in like 410 million quid or close to that. But in terms of coaching, what I saw from that second half of the season from Chelsea, I really saw a vision and a plan and what they wanted to do on the pitch. And the development of certain players. I mean, even look at Cole Palmer this season, man. He's been absolutely killing it. I believe Jackson's only going to get better and better and better. And even Cucurella was playing better and better and better. You know, he's improving players. And that 6 months, I think that's left him in good stead for his next job. Usually, Poch, when he leaves a team, a lot of the time he has a year off. I think he did it after PSG and he did it after Spurs, I think. I'm not sure if he's going to do this now, but you've seen all the links at the minute. He's definitely interested in a United job, and he's been linked with United for ages. I like Poch. He's changed my opinion. I thought he struggled at PSG, but you've also seen PSG have swallowed up some of the greatest managers. You know, Unai Emery struggled there. Tuchel, who I've just spoken about, struggled there. You know, a lot of managers struggled. It is a beast. And when I mean struggled, all of them won the league basically, but they just couldn't be successful in Europe. They're still yet to win the Champions League after investing about $20 trillion. Bruno leaving United, or is that just a rumour? Bruno ain't leaving United. I'm going to get into his interview in a moment. He's done an interview with Players Tribunal speaking about the club when he first signed, how he feels as a captain, how he feels the season's gone, and he's speaking ahead of the FA Cup final, so I'm going to get into that, don't worry. Please not Kieran McKenna, says Ryan Alexei. God is good, says we have to splash the cash on a centre-back and a striker if we even have a chance to be in the Champions League. I agree with you. What's people saying in the YouTube? How are we doing, people? Ineos is not doing great. We should keep Erik Ten Hag at any cost, says Schrinder. Rico with the real questions. Potatoes to Thomas Frank. KC Mango says McKenna is a brilliant coach, and it's quite evident Ineos are trying to build a structure where the manager becomes just a coach and the people above look after everything else. I agree. This is what I'm saying, KC. Absolutely. Same old story with Ineos as well. I don't want Ten Hag out, but I would support McKenna as the new manager. The way things are looking, Ten Hag will be sacked. Brentford to United is a big push for any manager. And Alexander Cortel says Chelsea want McKenna as well and Maresca. It's weird when you're seeing these like championship level managers, and I don't mean that as disrespect to him, but in reality, you've just seen Vincent Kompany, who's been demoted with Burnley, for being a little bit tactically naive in the way they're setting up and being a bit stubborn. I know he eventually pivoted, but you've seen him be demoted with Burnley, and then he's become the Bayern Munich manager. You're like, what the fuck is going on? And you got Chelsea linked with the Leicester manager, who, in all due respect, they had the biggest wage bill in the Championship. They should be winning the fucking Championship. I'm not saying he doesn't play nice football, but they should be winning it, you know what I mean? And then Ipswich, impressive. You can't look past that 100%. But then McKenna's being linked with the United job. So it's a bit mad at the minute, the manager market, in my opinion. You know, you had one of my personal favourites, Sean Dyche, taking Burnley into Europe. And then, what job did he have after Burnley? Was it Everton? Straight after Burnley? Straight to Everton, bottom of the league, fighting relegation, points deductions, all that kind of nonsense. I want to start a petition. Where's Sean Dyche's job? Big job in Europe. I think he deserves it. I want to see Sean Dyche at Barcelona. Fuck it, that's what I'm saying. Why not? Get him in there, and you've got Pedri and Gavi and Lewandowski and all these kind of young, technical, talented players. Get Sean Dyche in there with his bobby hat and his gloves on and get him going mental. And let him win a La Liga with Barcelona because he deserves it. You imagine him on a training pitch with all the players in front of him and he's going, Jules Koundé at the back, going, Jules, stick your head on it. And he's going to Pedri, he's going, Pedri, play it long. Lewandowski, get your head on it. I think Sean Dyche deserves a chance at Barcelona, personally. People don't understand that United will not be splashing money anymore. We need someone who can make. Dyche for United, then. Listen, if you want to hear a controversial opinion, and again, people will probably unsubscribe because of this, but I don't care, it's my opinion. I like Sean Dyche. If Thomas Frank's being considered for the job, I would consider Sean Dyche. And I like him as a coach. I think he's a no-nonsense coach. I think a lot of people throw him time with the same brush, saying as a Burnley manager. Fucking hell. He's a Burnley manager. He only plays long and does this. Nah. Organised. Look at the football Everton play at times. Really, really good. You know, given everything that's happened with them as well. And that's what I'm saying. None of these managers get considered, but I don't care if Thomas Frank's being considered. I want Sean Dyche just for the post-match. When they're asking, why is Marcus Rashford not wearing a bobby hat anymore or gloves? And he's like, because I said so. Because I said it. And you're like, yes, Sean. Go for it, son. Kieran McKenna to Brighton. Who are Man United going for? Well, I've just gone through the list, really. But let's talk about Erik Ten Hag a little bit, because he's the man who's still technically in charge ahead of this FA Cup final game. And when he got asked about this, about all the noise that's ongoing, and etc., he just said, look, I'm focused on the final. You've seen reports that he's turned down Bayern Munich as well because he wants to stay at United and he wants to work under this new regime. And hearing news like this, I don't care who you are. The manager will say, I'm just focusing on the game. You have to be fuming. You have to be fuming hearing this kind of stuff. And Ten Hag was sat there saying, are you fucking joking? For an FA Cup final, I'm sat here and you're talking about McKenna becoming a new, like, what are you fucking playing at? I'd be absolutely livid if I seen that report coming out as the manager. Now, at United, you know these things are going to happen. There's going to be rumours. And like I said, he will say he's focused. But I just think it's nonsense doing this before a massive game. His biggest game. Whether, you know, if he wins it, whether it's there or not, I'm not entirely sure. But, you know, either way, I think Dan Sheldon put something out in The Athletic, actually, that was interesting. He said, United sources say the club's ownership, with Ineos now having control of football operations along with key executives, will conduct an end-of-season review. Once that's completed, a decision will be made on whether Ten Hag continues or not. So maybe the final might not even have it. They might have already made their mind up, which is why you've seen them speaking to certain representatives and stuff. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Let's see. Lucky Singh, not elite. Gray Sherman says, exactly Dyche with his 4-4-2, back to basics. Haha, was waiting for the Sean Dyche impression. Dyche is underrated, I agree. Yes, Tim. Fucking love Tim. Nick started choking when he said Sean Dyche to United. No, I'm not, like, don't get it twisted, because that can get clipped up and taken out of context. I'm not saying Sean Dyche should get the United job, but I'm saying I like him personally as a manager. I do think he's really, really underrated. I think he's a fantastic coach, and I think he's done really well with Everton, all things considered. And I wouldn't just snub my nose at him because it's Sean Dyche. He's not the popular option, but I like him as a manager, I have to say. I have to be honest with people, do you know what I mean? Ten Hag in, let him do a squad clear out in the summer, says OJ. Marky Mark says, get Ipswich's manager in. Of course, alluding to McKenna. McMillan YouTube says, McKenna suits the rebuild Sir Jim and Ineos want. Wilcox and Ashworth will run the recruitment and the academy, and McKenna is the perfect coach for that link between the first and the academy. You might be right. You might be right. And obviously, like I said, he knows the fabric of the club as well. I know that's not everything, but he knows the expectation. He knows the situation upstairs as well, because obviously he's worked closely with Ole. I just don't know if he's ready for that step up or not. You only know one way. You know what I mean? You only know one way. Sean Dyche should stay at Everton next season. He probably will, to be honest. CS says you'll end up with Southgate, your flannel. I mean, I don't like the insult, but yeah, it's welcome to social media. Calling me a flannel, apparently. Right. Speaking of flannels, I had one dabbing up my tears before when Bruno Fernandes put something out, like a letter to United fans. I thought he was going to be leaving the club, but he actually did a nice letter. He did something with Players Tribunal. He was speaking about his signing for Manchester United this season, how it's gone, and a couple of other bits. So I'll just read out a couple of the quotes, and then I'll get your reaction to it, your reaction behind, and your reaction. I want to say a few words from the heart before this FA Cup final. I know that this has not been an easy season for you. We have not been up to the standard that you deserve. We have not always matched... Let me get my water. He didn't say let me get my water. We've not always matched the support you've shown us, the captain. I feel that more than anyone, and it's not a responsibility that I take for granted. This club is more than just something that I could put into a nice quote for social media. It's something I care about deeply. I think, most people would never deny that. He obviously gives a shit. For all the shit we've been through with injuries and setbacks, our fans have never stopped giving everything. And he speaks about the moment, actually, when he signed for Manchester United. He said, when my agent called me in January 2020, I was a bit shocked when he said, no, I'm serious, United. What do you want to do? He said he told his missus at the time, I feel like I'm already living a dream at Sporting, but it's more than a dream. It's Manchester United. All this time, my agent was still on the phone. I don't even know if I put him on mute. Maybe he was still talking to me about the deal, and I just wasn't responding. Finally, I said, Miguel. He said, Miguel? It's San Miguel, is that? He said, yes. I said, we're going to United. I hung up the phone, hugged my wife, and just cried tears of joy. And I thought it was a nice little insight to his transfer and how it went on, because that guy he's been criticised for being over-emotional in this captain role before, and he can be over-emotional. He can react to stuff badly, especially when you're losing. But you can't really criticize. You can criticize someone for it because you need focused, level-headed leadership during turbulent times. When you have someone who's really emotional and reactive, that spreads on everyone else, and then the club become emotional. And then they always say, when you go into a game against Liverpool or Arsenal and the emotion is there, sometimes you get tied into it a bit. And that's one of the reasons why Liverpool actually drew the games against us and lost in the FA Cup, because they got dragged into the emotion of it. They couldn't focus on the game, and we end up going through. So that happens with Bruno sometimes. He gets just too distracted and too angered, and do you know what I'm saying? But it's like you can't knock a man because he cares about the club. So it's hard. But I think undoubtedly this guy has been the best signing post-Fergie. Not even close. You even look at his numbers. I mean, even chances created, assists and goals, he is right up there. And I remember when he first came in, when he played against Wolves, I think he played like more deeper. He played as an 8. And I was like, this guy's going to be a top signing. Instantly. You could tell instantly. And people question it, saying, is he going to be able to replicate the stats that he got at Sporting Lisbon to Man United? And he's definitely done that, 100%. 100%. I've said before, we could do a lot worse than selling Bruno Fernandes. Like, we need to keep all the players like that at the moment going into this summer. If you want to start rid of players like Sancho or Wan-Bissaka or whatever, then there's a discussion there to be had. But for me, unless an astronomical offer comes in, I'm talking like 150 million quid, I'm not even speaking to you about it. And I don't think that would happen. I think he wants to stay at the club. You've seen that. The club want to keep him. But there has to be a vision and a plan to show him to say, look, Bruno, this is where we're going now. I know the past 4 years have been tough, but you've still won a couple of trophies, let's say. Has he won a couple of trophies, actually? No, he's just won a Carabao Cup, hasn't he? Since he's joined United. Because obviously Ollie didn't win anything. Yeah, he's just won a Carabao Cup, I think. Is that right? I'm second-guessing myself there. But yeah, look, you've won a trophy, but within 4 years is not what you expected. You probably thought, I'll come there with the players that are bringing in, Sancho, Bruno, Ronaldo, blah, blah, blah. You know, you're going to get to that next level eventually, and it just hasn't happened. Just hasn't happened. He's going to be important for that City game. You look at the quality that City have all over the pitch. We only had that level in a couple of players, I would probably say. And that's when they're on it. You know, when Marcus Rashford is on it last season, you know, one of the best players. Like goal scorers. Bruno Fernandes, when he's on it, one of the best players in the league. Varane, when he's on it, one of the best defenders in the league. Lissandro, you know, when they are, Luke Shaw when he's playing, but it's asking a lot. But someone like him needs to turn up if we're to get anything out of that game, because we've seen United against big clubs before, where we've killed them just on the counter attack. We've done it to Arsenal, we've done it to Liverpool, we've done it to Man City, all under Erik Ten Hag. So there's no reason why we can't go and do that. There's no reason why we can't go and do it. A lot of people writing us off in the final. I understand it. But there is still that killer counter-attack if we utilise it right. Sancho's better than Antony. I mean, you're probably not wrong. If he had performed and played to expectations, there'll be no Antony. Thoughts on Rashford not being called up? I think he deserves it, to be honest with you. I don't mean to be like nasty about that, but I think the only argument you can make is, well, Grealish has been in shit form. Both of them have been in terrible form. So it just depends then on what kind of type of player Southgate wants. Anthony Gordon's definitely been better than him. Eze's definitely been better than him at Palace. More productive. Even stats-wise, they've been better. So, look, it might actually do Rashford the world of good. Having a break off in the summer. And it might be better for us. So, in a kind of selfish way, I'm almost happy he's not going, because give him a couple of months off, let him recharge the mental batteries. You know, because last season when we finished the season and then he went up straight on international duty, he had about 2 weeks off. So I think he needs it. Rashford's been playing bad since he got his pay rise with United. I agree. Right, should we talk about some transfers then? Make sure you do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. McMillan saying Arteta was only ever Pep's number 2, never managed a club and got the arseholes gig, and now he has them flying. Well, it depends what you class as flying, because, you know, they're playing really, really good football, but they've still not really won anything, have they? I know there's a couple of FA Cups, but leagues and Champions Leagues, and you know what I mean? And again, the same could be said for Ten Hag. You know, the argument's there. Okay, transfer news. Transfer gossip, right? Let me just emphasise that word, transfer gossip. What's being put out there in the papers, etc. Not me saying we're definitely going to sign this player, but get ready for this. Alvaro Morata's release clause for this summer will be valid for a fee in excess of €12 million. There are possibilities for Morata to leave Atletico this summer based on the striker domino around Europe, right? And hear me out. I'm not saying we should go and sign him, but you look at what we need at the moment. It's almost going to be as bad as the Sean Dyche take. You look at what we need at the moment. United need an experienced striker who's been about, who's won a couple of things, and they could probably get for a decent price. You know, we got linked last season, or even 6 months ago, with Taremi from Porto, who's around, I think he's like 29, 30 years old. He's experienced, he's seasoned, he knows what he's doing in the game. He's played in some huge games as well. And obviously, I think he's gone to Inter Milan on a free, or AC Milan on a free, can't remember which one it was. But if you look at a player like that, if you're looking for just depth and experience and someone who can guide Rasmus a little bit, would he be the worst option in the world? Or am I smoking something? I don't know. €12 million, it's not like, even if you want to get him as like a third option, you know, because a lot of the teams in the Premier League all have, you know, kind of 3 attackers in each area that can play there. You look at Liverpool, for example, Nunes, Jota, Salah, Diaz, probably other ones that I'm forgetting. Bruno goes missing, wastes chances, lose ball in dangerous areas. Bruno's quality. Keeping losers like Rashi, Bruno, Anthony, Maguire. United had my support after the treble win 99 against Barca, but in 2011 I switched, says FHL. He's been one of United's best players this season. I agree. Well, he won the award, didn't he? Him and Dallo won Players Award, and Bruno won Matt Busby Award, didn't he? And not Bobby Charlton. Was it Bobby Charlton Award? I can't remember. My head's all over the place. But yeah, Alvaro Morata. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there because I'm looking at the budget for this summer, and everyone knows it. I mean, these people talking like it's 35 million quid, and you're like, Jesus Christ, who are you going to buy with that, honestly? You have to sell significantly well if you even want to buy 3-4 players. So if you are working on a tight budget, if you've got to go buy a left back, 2 centre backs, a central defensive midfielder, a striker, and a creative winger, how much is that going to cost you in today's market? A lot of fucking money. Even if you sell well, you're still going to have to spend quite a bit. So you might have to... These transfers that I'm talking about won't be popular, and some people might not like them, but sometimes you have to box clever. And you have to go get someone who's not necessarily the most favourite signing, but can do a bit of a job for your club. And I think Ineos may look at the free market. They may look at transfers like this. You've seen like Ross Barkley, for example, going to Aston Villa. I mentioned Ross Barkley on the transfer show we did a couple of weeks ago to the lads, saying that we should look at that as a free signing. It's a free signing. His wages aren't going to be mega. And let's be honest, he's a better midfielder than McTominay is. 100%. So why not add that depth and quality, 2-3 year contract, have him on the bench, as him as, you need to bring him on. He's decent. He's decent quality. And obviously Luton are going down as well. So, you know what I mean? Morata is first choice at the minute, and on £250,000 a week, age 31, he would demand to be first choice and want a big wage to cover tax. Well, Box, you just threw that transfer right out the window, because if that is the case, again, I don't watch Atletico Madrid, so I don't know much about him, but if that is the case, then absolutely not. Yeah, forget everything I've just said. But I could see a certain angle on it where it'd be a good take, but Boxers, yeah, you're absolutely spot on there, mate. I think Raul Jimenez is the right player for Højlund. What's going on with Raul? Is he still at Fulham, Jimenez? I can't remember if is he at Fulham? Obviously, he had that nasty head injury, didn't he? But then, yeah, I thought so. But he's not been playing, hasn't Broja? Not Broja, fucking hell, what's his name? What? He's actually a good striker at Fulham. Is it Munoz? Munoz, isn't it? Decent striker. I like him. Very good. Garassi, 15 million, looks interesting, says Box. Yeah, I saw Muppeteers talking about him. We're going to get him on, actually, James, from Muppeteers. Probably the start of the transfer window. Just to pick his brain about what direction Ineos are going in and what kind of shortlist you have, etc. And we'll chat to him about that. Because I've seen him saying, keep an eye on Garassi. Again, I don't know much about Garassi. I've seen bits. I know he had a very good stint for like 6 months in Bundesliga where he was like top goal scorer. But he's dropped a little bit at the moment. But again, it's one of those where it's like, then 15 million to 20 million, that's probably the budget you're looking at. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to get some old pauper who's fucking shit. Garassi's a good striker. Do you know how much Man City bought Julian Alvarez for? 15 million quid. 15 million quid. You can find them gems out there. It might not even be a striker that anyone's even heard about. I see De Jong speculation trying to build. I'm tired of that news. I love De Jong. But we've got Kobe Mainu now. I'm not too arsed about him, to be honest with you. I was obsessed with that transfer last season. I'm past it now. Are we getting a new manager? Potentially, Connor. I was speaking about that at the start of the show. So if you want to go check that out on YouTube, please do. We are on, people. 5,103 subscribers. We're going to be live tonight with the FA Cup final preview. Me, Adam, Sam and Aaron, I believe, are on tonight discussing the last game of the season. Absolutely massive for Ten Hag, massive for the future of the club. And we're going to dive right into it. We're going to have loads of stuff discussing it in full. So make sure you just come and join us for that. Please do leave a like on the video for us as well. Check out the other videos that we've done on the channel. There's loads of stuff if you're stuck a little bit for content. And yeah, it won't be long. We'll be, 6 hours, we'll be back on here. So make sure you come and join us. Drop us a follow on TikTok if you're not doing already. Again, more clips coming out. today on there. Smash a like, drop us a follow. Someone's tipping me there. Norris, you fucking legend. Thank you very much. Just a Harmless Potatoes joined as well. Look at these. He's sending me gifts. Norris, what a fucking legend. I hope you have a lovely weekend, Norris. I hope everyone else has a lovely weekend. It's Friday. Get that Friday feeling. Have a couple of bevies, and hopefully you'll come and tune in at 7 o'clock for the preview with us, and we can all discuss it together, yeah? Appreciate it. How we doing, mate? I'm good, Harmless Potato. Hope you're good, man. Thank you for the follow. Thank you to everyone else for the follow. And I'll see you guys in due course, yeah? Take it easy. See you in a bit.